Okay, today we're going to talk about clearing your money blocks so that you can make the impact that you want to make, grow in your business the way you want to, and really feel safe with owning your full power. And this work has been so important to me because that relationship with money, like any other relationship, is really like a mirror. And for me, it's helped me see all the places where I have resistance, where I don't feel like I can be loved. And moving through that stuff is really fucking life changing. And then, of course, there are the external benefits, right? Being able to bring in more money into my business, being able to charge more, being able to help other people with their money beliefs and creating that freedom for themselves, being able to feel worthy of all of that. So important, right? And it's still something that I'm growing through. It's still stuff I'm healing through. But there's so many gems that I want to share with you because I know it's important to your work and to your mission. And so just to run through what we're gonna be diving into today, we're gonna be talking about identifying where you feel money blocks in your body, so that you can have a helpful response to them that helps you heal, feel safer, and take the actions you want to attract more money. Often, when it comes to money, business, strategy, often we're up here, but the body is really what impacts our ability to take action, because we have things stored in our body, right? Trauma, blocks, and that impacts the beliefs we have, the feelings we have, the thoughts we have, and inevitably the actions that we take and how we feel in the process. So we'll be able to dive into that. We'll also look at some of the main mindset blocks that stop us from bringing money and clients into our business. And these are connected, right? It's all connected. So the feelings in the body are going to trigger different thoughts. And, you can also have a memory that triggers some of the body stuff, right? So it's all connected. And the reason why we're going body and mind, the reason why I'm showing both, is because you might resonate with more. One might be easier to identify for you. And so it's just helpful to have that holistic picture. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to also talk about like clearing money beliefs that aren't yours, because we carry so much that is not ours to carry. Stuff from the womb, stuff from our parents, stuff from society, stuff from our ancestors. And so I'm going to share a couple of easy practices, simple practices. Don't mean to say easy, simple practices that you can do that don't take a lot of time, but are really powerful for helping you just clear out some of the energy that doesn't belong to you. And then through the Q&A that happened when we did this live, there'll be an opportunity to really reflect on your connection between money and spiritual growth, and to really help you create a better relationship so you can really see how it's energizing to your mission and your inner growth. And so in this process, when we speak about healing, really we're taking the lens of three parts of healing that are all connected, right? It's all energy, but we're looking at it from a mind, heart, and then the remainder of the body perspective. And so with that, I want to just preface this by saying, right, like the mind is often what is most encouraged. That's often the level of healing that's most encouraged. So this is things like journaling to understand, like in having an intellectual understanding, reflecting on things, even putting in strategies, and all of that is really, really important. And at the same time, there are other parts of healing that are important as well to really free you up in the way you want to be freed up, right? So on the heart level, that's often a level too that is encouraged as well. So on the heart level, we talk a lot about love and forgiveness and compassion for yourself and acceptance, all super, super beautiful things. And what we don't talk about enough, and what we're going to spend a lot of time on today, is sort of the remainder of the body. And of course, the heart is a part of the body, but for the sake of this conversation, we're treating the body as just like the stored trauma that's in the body, right? And the physical sensations that you have, right? So often, maybe when we're feeling stressed or anxious, often we're up here and we're noticing what's up here, but we might not be as connected to our body. And that's often what needed to happen in our younger years to feel safer. So we're really rebuilding that connection with the body. And the reason why the body is so, so important, I talk about this a little more in a little bit in the video, but the reason why the body is so important is because there's things that are stored in our body, right? And I like to think about it as when we can really process the stuff in our body, we move it to long-term storage. And I explain in a little bit what I mean by that concept of long-term storage, but the basic idea is that the body doesn't know exactly what's going on in the mind, right? So logically in the mind, you might be like, oh, I'm safe. Oh, this is fine. But the body's just like, yeah, no, this is a situation that feels similar to another situation that felt really unsafe or stressful. And so the body is just going to trigger, that fight, flight, freeze response. And so you can really want to show up in one way. You can really want to feel safe with a certain level of money, with a certain level of responsibility, with a certain level of power. But if there's stuck energy in your body that's triggering beliefs and feelings that don't align with that desire, then it's going to be really hard to actually make that progress that you want. And so a lot of what we're going to be focusing on is really the importance also of feeling and processing those things in the body. And often this is not talked about as much because it's painful. It's painful to feel the loneliness that you might have interpreted from different situations, the sadness, the anger, the pain, the grief. It's painful to feel those things, but really feeling and processing is what allows our body to free up some of that space and not continue to trigger those same activated or deactivated responses that really sideline us from being intentional with how we want to show up. So we'll dive in, and we're really going to be looking at a lot of the body through the different energy centers in the body, right? And really being able to understand how the different sensations or blocks that we have in our body, where that might be coming from, and how we can harmonize some of those things. And just to preface it, there's a lot that I'm going to be sharing, but a key thing for the healing also is just feeling and processing, because your body really already knows how to heal. But there are other things that we can do as well to support ourselves. So first, to start off, when you think about your relationship with money, or if you think about a time where you had discomfort or resistance related to money, or fear, or whatever it is, discomfort related to money, your ability to make it, your ability to hold on to it, your safety with it, where do you feel that sensation in the body? I want you to just notice where you feel it. So just take a moment to imagine a scenario where you had discomfort related to money, and notice where you feel that sensation in your body. right? So you might be feeling it in your throat, in your heart space, in sort of the solar plexus, you know, midpoint of your stomach, maybe closer to the sacral, closer to like your genitals. And a part that's often really hard to notice, or at least for me sometimes, is kind of that root part. So the root part often can feel like you're like clenching your bottom, and so you can identify where you might feel that, and then we'll dive in now and talk about exactly how we can respond to these things in a helpful way.
But we'll look at these different parts of your body. So your root is really connected to your feeling of safety and survival, and really feeling grounded. And so a lot of the times, if you have wounds like emotional neglect or some other form of neglect, or if there was another form of abuse in your household, or just a feeling of a lack of security when it came to money, or just a general lack of safety. If you were worried that, like, you know, your caregivers were really unpredictable and you didn't feel safe to express yourself or do different things, that can often lead to you feeling that lack of safety even as an adult. And so that can manifest into things like penny pinching or hoarding or feeling restless, or even, you know, when you have a lot of money or have enough money, this feeling like you can't really relax and you aren't safe. And so some things that you can do to really balance that are take time to connect with nature. And then a really, really important thing, your root really likes plans. It likes knowing what's going on. And so anything that you are avoiding, maybe you have debt and you're like, I want to make a plan to pay off debt, and you just avoid it, or you don't look at your you know, the money in your bank, or if you haven't made long-term goals as far as like what you want to do with the money, where you want to live, things like that, then it'll be really hard for your root to feel balanced. So those are things that can really help the root. And then what I'm going to repeat for all of these is feel the feelings in your body. Make time to really be with those feelings, and that can be hard, you know, if the body feels really unsafe. So if it means getting outside help to help you with that, or sometimes speaking to your body, you can use the mind to speak to your body, to let the body know this is safe to do this, etc. That can be really helpful. But, you know, if you feel the need to cry, yell, scream, bang, however you dance, whatever way the body wants to express itself, that's really important. And I like to think about a lot of this as putting things into long-term storage. So when we felt things in our younger years that we responded to in a way, what the body responded to in a way that felt traumatic, right? Often it gets stuck in the body, right? And so the body triggers these things so that we can become aware of what's there. And then once we're aware, we process what's there, then it can move to long-term storage, and we have that wisdom. And the body's like, okay, cool, this is good. This is going to be dealt with. And, you know, so it's really important to be able to process those things. Yeah. And Taylor, what you can go ahead and comment
Sure.
your thoughts. Yeah.
So for me, being raised by an immigrant parent, and I think a lot of people here may relate to this, and whether or not you had an immigrant parent, I've seen a lot of this, you know, survival mode. And even when or if my parents had financial abundance, they always lived with this fear and this survival mentality. And something that I've noticed recently, like Kyle said, that's been really helpful is I realized that my fear, my anxiety, my resistance to money significantly decreases when I have some feeling of predictability, some feeling of control. And I realized that for a long time I would avoid going there because I didn't know what I'm doing. So he's right, you know, even just asking for help and getting started with someone, you know, working with Kyle. Now I have this coach who's helping me become financially literate and understand investing. It didn't change how much money I made. as much as it changed my entire relationship to wanting to make more, because I feel like money is more safe now and it's less scary to make it. And I think that that's a really good point, that if you feel like you have this survival mentality around money, just finding ways to plant seeds for feeling more control around your finances. I used to never look into my bank account because it gave me anxiety. Didn't want to deal with taxes because it gave me anxiety. So hiring people to help you, you may not make it, you may not be a financial expert, you know, but even just that small step of hiring help, asking for help, admitting that you want to work on this can really, really take this to a new level and really help you improve this.
Yeah, well, I second that 100%. I have immigrant parents, and I realize in my case, so much of my lack of safety as well was this feeling of like, if I disappoint my mom or if I make a mistake, then I will be unsafe. Like I'm going to be punished or something's going to happen. And it was so eye-opening because it was like, this literally has nothing to do with money. It's just like, I'm going to be physically or emotionally unsafe if I do something wrong. So I would just avoid looking at money, it's similar to a lot of things that Taylor said. And so, yeah, I echo everything Taylor said. And it's really cool to see that, like, sometimes it's not even related to money. It's just like other things around safety that can make it so that if money is a topic that feels remotely, uncomfortable or new, you're just like, oh, not going to go there, not going to look at it.
Yeah, I don't want to look at something that I feel like I don't understand. I don't want to look at something where I feel like an amateur. I feel like I'm not succeeding in life. So I'll just put that aside and focus on other things. But it
100%. 100%. And what we'll often notice, so if we move on to the sacral, so the sacral is really around our sensuality, sexuality, creating our desires, right? And so often it's important for the root to feel safe so that you have that container where you can play and make mistakes and flow. So often it's important to address that basic safety, like, okay, I have a plan so that you can feel better with planting seeds and showing up. And a lot of the times wounds related to the sacral are things like not feeling like you can make mistakes in childhood, feeling like you'd be punished for something like that, or that you needed to be perfect, not feeling like you could really express your creativity or experiment in the ways that you wanted to. And so this can look like a fear of putting yourself out there and not really feeling like you can create the life you want. And so some things that can really help to balance that are letting yourself write and create and make the things that you want, letting yourself move your body, and really visualizing can help as well, because it can help you connect more to your creativity and allowing yourself to plant different seeds and know that this is really a part of your body that wants to just flow, wants to just put things out and see what happens. Love it. Yeah, it seems like the long-term storage part really resonated with a lot of people when it comes to processing things in the body. So that's amazing. You wanted to share something, Taylor?
Just as I like to, I'm saying that when it comes to creativity, I feel like when you have to have like a safe, like the safe base to create on. I've traveled all the time, moving environments, I always need like a few days to like know, hey, this is where I'm eating, this is where I'm sleeping, this is what's going on, like the basic needs. And only then can I really tap into my creative state. So it makes perfect sense. And that's basically what he's saying here, that you have to build on that feeling of safety from the root.
100%. Yeah. And then our solar plex, this is really connected to our confidence, our power, our self-worth. So if a lot of you said that you felt resistance kind of in that stomach region, and so perhaps that's the solar plexus that was feeling that block. And this often is related to a wound of feeling violated in some ways at some point in your life or when you were younger. So for example, if you didn't really have the safety to say no to your parents or to really disagree with your parents, that can often manifest in a block in your solar plex because you don't really feel like you have the willpower to do what you want. And so this can really manifest in like avoiding responsibilities. So this can look like you want to create something, but you're like, oh, I don't really want to be responsible for whatever is being created, or procrastinating on what you want to do, or avoiding bills or looking at your finances, not really wanting to take control of those things because there's a sense of like, oh, I don't really have the power to take care of this. And so some things that can really help to harmonize that are keeping promises to yourself. Really, this is the part of your body that really wants to see you taking action. That really wants to see, okay, you made this plan, let's follow through on it. And you can really connect to like the energy, at least for me, what helps is connecting to like the energy of fire or the energy of the sun, and like really feeling something burning and like, oh, like this is my desire. I got to do this for myself. And at the same time, what's so important, as I mentioned before, is feeling the resistance that might be there, because the body is going to be like, this is unsafe. Last time we did this, we got in trouble, So really feeling what's there can free you up to be able to take these actions. And some questions that can really help you to feel what's in the body is just taking a moment and asking that part of your body, hey, what's here? What's underneath this? What do you want to express to me? Or is there like a memory or a visual or even a phrase that you want to share with me? And often that part of your body will communicate with you, and that can help you go a bit deeper beneath the protection, to really let yourself feel what's there. And music helps a lot too. A song that helps you get into whatever you're feeling can be really, really powerful. Cool. And then the heart is really, really big. So the heart, as we know, is connected to love, emotions. It can also be connected to a sense of inner peace. And often we have blocks in our heart, wounds from our younger years of not really feeling appreciated, not feeling loved in ways that we needed to be loved. So perhaps, your caregivers only had a certain amount of emotional capacity. And so the younger you might have internalized that as like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of being loved, etc. And just feeling rejected. Yeah, and there's a limit on love. That's a big thing that I'm working through is feeling a limit on the amount of love. And so this can really manifest in like when people give you compliments, you downplay them, right? Or when someone wants to work with you, you're scared of asking for money, and you just also have a fear that if you get too big, that's going to be problematic. You'll be judged in ways, or people won't love you, things like that. And so what can really help with that is really identifying what you're carrying, that is yours, and what it might have been things that you interpreted that weren't yours to carry. Maybe a caregiver was dealing with stuff and you took it on as your own stuff. And really a lot of self-talk, just really being loving to yourself, talking to yourself in a kind way. And a big thing, just allowing yourself to receive. So particularly, one thing that I like to practice a lot that helps me is when someone gives me a compliment or says something loving, to not reject it or like immediately give them a compliment, throw the energy back at them, but also to really feel it in your body. Like if someone says, oh, I love your hair, or I love that outfit, sit with that and really feel the vibration of that love that they're giving you. And just practicing as much as you can, letting yourself receive. That's really big. And then of course, feeling whatever's there and feeling it in a compassionate way, right? So as much as you can, sometimes we repeat the way our caregivers treated us. So it's like, well, get over this already. Why aren't you better? Like, can we show compassion and understanding and accept ourselves for where we're at, and give ourselves love as we transform in the ways that we want to.
Yeah, I feel like for that one, every single person has a resistance to receiving help, receiving love, receiving compliments. And that is one of the most transformational things I've put my awareness on, where I allow my partner to show me love, or I allow people to pay me and believe I deserve it. And that has allowed me to definitely clear some blocks around money. And I think that that's probably the most practical thing you can leave this call and apply, because we have so many moments in a day, so many opportunities to surrender and let ourselves receive what is being given to us, that we don't even notice how much people are giving to us until we let ourselves start to receive it. So if you even
100%.
take that and focus on that, you know, next time someone gives you something, next time someone asks you if you need help, receiving that, letting yourself relax into receiving, that's a huge one that I feel is like
100%.
practical and helps a lot.
100% for me as well. That's so true. Yeah, and the heart is really, I still feel a lot of blocks there for sure. And the throat is a place I feel a lot of blocks as well. And a lot of this is around communication, self-expression, really trusting yourself and others. And a wound that you might have is feeling like in your younger years you couldn't really ask for help, or feeling like if you did ask for help, it would come with, you know, a bunch of consequences. It would come with a bunch of extra stuff that you didn't feel like you wanted to deal with, or really feeling like you couldn't be honest and speak your truth. And so this can really manifest in, you know, feeling insecure, or feeling overly aggressive, or feeling like you kind of have to keep to yourself, and really not being able to trust others, and also sometimes having difficulty trusting yourself as well. And so ways you can really balance this are through asking for help, creating spaces where you can be vulnerable, where you can talk about money, talk about things that you're working on or maybe don't feel as proud of, and really allowing yourself to be imperfect is big too, because sometimes we can carry a lot of shame because we feel like we need to be perfect, and that can be connected to a ton of other things. But if you can really have safe spaces to be imperfect and speak your truth, that can really help you balance the throat chakra. And yeah, for the third eye, so a lot of these lower ones are you feel them more in the body. But the third eye is really connected to our intuition, our psychic abilities, and you know, a lot of times a wound here, or the shadow side of this, can really be feeling disconnected from yourself, and even feeling disconnected from others. And this can really manifest as not being able to see beyond your current problems, or really having difficulty dreaming or visualizing, you know, something else. And so what can really help with this is allowing yourself to practice using your imagination, and even sometimes acting, right? Sometimes we have these identities where it's like, I'm stuck in this way. And so maybe you want to embody, you know, a millionaire, or maybe you want to embody, you know, someone else, or another version of you that feels a different way. And so that's another way you can practice balancing the third eye. And then really being in community that inspires you, that allows you to see other possibilities, that allows you to learn what else is possible. I know for me, just like I've been focusing a lot more on investing in myself and working with people who have an energy, you know, or competence that I really want. And it's so crazy because, you know, they have a lot of exercise and activities that you can do, but really sometimes the best thing is just being in their energy and seeing like, holy shit, like this is possible to live this way, or to have this thing, or to feel this way. And that can really go a long way.
And even if you just pay attention to, you know, a very simple thing, if you're not in a place where you can meet new people, fit in the flesh, I really try to pay attention to who I'm following online.
Yeah.
You know, people who expand what is possible for me, who are really living out things that I think are unrealistic and connect to an authentic way. That's a good place to, you know, watch people live lives in ways that you may only imagine for yourself and don't believe is possible. You can create a community also of people on your news, on your social media feed of explorers.
100%. Yeah, and our crown is really connected to our spiritual connection, feeling connected to everything, and a lot of the shadow side of this is can be feeling disconnected from spirit, feeling disconnected from the body, and this can really manifest as feeling like you can't have what you want, or that there isn't a larger source that can create different possibilities for you. And so what can really help with this is developing your awareness through practices like meditation, yoga, journaling, connecting with nature, and exploring astrology can really help as well. I know once I started going deep on human design, and even like my girlfriend recommended me to get the Pattern app, and I was not really feeling astrology. And then once I started exploring these different things, it really opened me up to affirming more of my gifts, feeling more powerful, and feeling like I could create more of the life that I wanted. So that's something that I found to be really helpful.
I think that for each person, we have our own connection to source consciousness. Some people, they may even connect to their religion in a spiritual way. For me, incorporating prayer into my life and making my own personal relationship with God has helped me so much in that area as well. So you may call to go into astrology, you may not. You may have your own, part of yourself that feels connected to the divine, and it's very personal. So each person explore that. I recommend.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Beautiful, beautiful. So I've been doing a lot of talking, so I want us to have some time to practice some things. But I would love to hear from you all in the comments. Is there an intention that you have based on what we just shared about the different parts of the body and where you can feel blocks related to money? If you have an intention, you can just write it in the comments. So maybe the intention is, I'm going to go look at my bank account, or like, I'm going to let myself receive compliments, or I'm going to make time to exercise, or whatever it is. Or I'm going to keep my promises. Thanks for sharing, Alexa. So any intentions that you have, you can allow yourself to put in the comments. I love it. Figuring out how to finance a car, creating a financial plan, taking action on things I want to avoid. Love it, love it, love it. Writing down compliments. Beautiful, beautiful. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to quickly just share some of the main mindset blocks that I've noticed can block people from bringing in income in their businesses, or if they're working, want to work with different clients, or just put themselves out there in a way. And then we'll be able to talk really briefly about that. And then I want to share a practice, and then we'll have about 10 minutes for Q&A. So I'm just going to rattle these off, and you can just see if any of these resonate with you. So I'll go 1 to 8, and then you can, I'll have you after in the chat comment which ones you feel resonated most. So the first one here is self-trust. And of course, all of this stuff will also be connected to some of the stuff we spoke about before with chakras. But self-trust, this is really like a lack of belief in yourself, and that you can follow through on things you want to do. And sometimes this can also be like a feeling like, oh, there's a part of me that's not really in integrity. And so how can I be helping other people do things if I don't really feel like I'm worthy of doing that, or I have the integrity to do that? Of course, a lot of this stuff is going to be coming from different wounds. And so these might be the stories you're hearing. And then self-love. This is often the sense of this feeling of like, I'm not really worthy of love. I'm not really worthy of receiving compliments or money or validation from other people. Worthiness in this context is this underlying feeling of being a bad person. So this might be something that your inner child internalized, maybe from getting criticized a lot, or having a lot of the things be projected on them from caregivers. So there's this underlying feeling, how can I be helping people if I am a bad person? That is one that I have been working through a lot personally. And then money stories, different money stories and blocks, things like you're greedy if you want more money, things like money doesn't grow on trees, things like there's a limit to how much money you have, money makes you a bad person,
Can't
all
be
those
spiritual, can't be
stories.
spiritual and rich.
Can't be spiritual and rich. Yeah, those stories will definitely push money away. And then
We need more spiritual people to be rich. Okay? Let me
yeah,
just say this. Like if someone's gonna have the money, and the more conscious, spiritually aware, emotionally aware people with money, the better this world will be. So
100%.
remember that it's not selfish, and money in the hands of a conscious human is probably the best gift in the world to humanity. So please, all of you
100%.
go get that bag. Okay, that's what
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And then self-criticism is often just reoccurring critical thoughts about yourself. Control is a big one, and this is really connected to the root chakra. So control is just feeling like everything needs to go according to plan, and if it doesn't, then things are falling apart. Things, it's not going to work out. So this is really a fear that things can't work out for you, and not really being able to have faith that things will be okay. And then imposter syndrome includes a lot of comparison, a lot of feeling like you aren't competent enough. Why would someone want to work with you or give you money when there's other people? And then perfectionism is a big one that I've personally been working through. And this sometimes it's you can see it as like, oh no, I really just want my stuff to be great. But a lot of times where this comes from is the feeling that like you weren't good enough because you were criticized often, or like your safety was in jeopardy if you made a mistake. And so you learned, okay, I need to be perfect. And so these are often things that can slow us down and can keep us from really showing up in the way we want to, or letting ourselves receive money. So I'm curious from you all, did any of these resonate with you? You can put the word, or you can just put the number in the chat.
1 to 8. 1 through 8. 8 out of 8.
Yeah, for me, yeah, I've had to work through all of these.
All of them.
Personally, but the ones that I think stood out the most to me were worthiness, money stories, control, and perfectionism for me personally. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so we've spoken a decent amount about things that you can do and things you can be more aware of. And a lot of it comes down to, as I said, feeling the feelings. And then, of course, these practical things we listed above. Not saying feeling feelings is not practical, but like more mental things that you can do. But another big thing to recognize too is that a lot of the shit is not yours. And you don't need to carry it anymore. So I'm going to share 2 really quick practices that can help you to clear these money beliefs that aren't yours to carry.
And when he's done, I'm going to give you guys just a little bit more of that that hype talk. I want to give you just some things I feel like I want to say to people that are here specifically. So we'll do these and I'll leave you guys with some motivation.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. So this first one that I'm going to share, and I'll do these pretty quickly. You can do them for longer, but just for the sake of time, we'll run through these at a faster pace. But this first one I call a 5 parts connection to abundance. It's a meditative practice. So you can just allow yourself to sit comfortably, and we will run through this, or sit through this rather. Cool. So allow yourself to feel fully supported by whatever you're resting on at the moment. You can allow your hands to rest gently in your lap. And you can allow your eyes to close if that feels comfortable for you, or let yourself stare at a point on the ground down in front of you. And first, I want you to just connect to all of the cells in your body. Connect to all of the things in your body, the cells in your body working to help you thrive, help you create, help you feel, help you love, help you open. Just connect to all of those, all the things that are working for you. And next, I want you to connect to your hips. And this is sort of like your money seat, your space of creativity that allows you to create life, allows you to create ideas, and really connect to the power that you have in this part of your body. Now I want you to connect with your feet and really feel them planted on the earth. And sense the connection that you have to the earth. The ability to create things, the power that you have. The way things seem to work out. The seasons that life has. Really connect to your power. And now I want you to invite you to connect with your heart space. And this time, what I want you to do is, I want you to consciously breathe into this space and imagine the container there just expands and expands with each breath. Now I want you to imagine that all of the money that you desire, all of the love you desire, I want you to imagine that you are just welcoming that into this container. And when you feel resistance, you allow your breath to expand that container. And really welcome in all of the love, all the money. You can just visualize, imagine it flowing into your heart space. And this last step, you can choose to go with it if it resonates with you. If not, you can choose to let it go. But for this last step, we want to invite in help, recognizing that we don't have to do this all on our own. So I want you to, if it resonates with you, connect with your money angels. Connect with whatever higher power, source, spirit you feel can help you. And I invite you to set an intention with these money angels. Perhaps your intention is something like, I allow myself to receive help, and I know that my money angels are going to help me bring in all of the money that I desire. Whatever other intention feels good to you related to money and allowing yourself to receive help from these money angels. And then at your own pace, whenever you're ready, you can allow yourself to return your full awareness back to the space. Thank you all for practicing that with me. So that is a short practice that you can do to really connect back to your own energy, because we can be carrying a lot of stories from other people, and that can really help you connect to your own power and your own ability to create the life that you want. And there's one other really quick practice I want to show you. And this can be in moments where if you feel really overwhelmed. And this is more of just an energetic practice. So let's say you're feeling really overwhelmed related to money. One thing you can do is you can just imagine that there's like a large, a large piece of sand that's in your hand. And a lot of that sand is not your stuff. Maybe it's from your caregivers or from your womb or from your ancestors, et cetera, et cetera. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to let go of the stuff that is not yours, right? And so you can just imagine you're knocking off, okay, this is my mom's stuff, this is my dad's stuff, this is, society stuff, this is whoever. And so that large mound of sand now becomes something that's a lot more manageable. And that's something that you can do in a moment if you feel overwhelmed, just to allow yourself to feel that sense that, like, I don't have to keep up with all these stories. I can just take care of what's mine. So that's one more thing I wanted to share. But yes, I would love to hear from you all. I know we don't have a ton of time. I have a little bit of extra time, so I'm willing to stay on for a little longer, but I'd love to hear any questions, any reflections, anyone that wants to share. You can unmute yourself and share. And Taylor, I know you want to share something too, so if you wanted to, okay.
I have more extra time, so if you have to go, then I'm going to stay. I just want to say a few things also just from my own experiences. So if anyone has any questions for Kyle, I'd love to give you guys a chance to ask him.
Beautiful. And there's a lot of you, so just unmute your mic and start speaking, because I won't be able to see everyone on the screen.
Yeah, can we turn the share screen off so we can see?
Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful. No, I'll turn it off.
Yeah, okay, I like to see the people. Okay.
Are there physical exercises? Yes, so yoga has been helpful for me, just having more of a connection to my body. And I know there are specific yoga poses that are they can help you harmonize different parts of your body. I am not an expert in that, so I would encourage you to just Google like yoga poses to balance chakras, and you will be able to find some. But I do know that that's something I've looked at myself, and so I incorporate some of those yoga poses.
Yeah, one exercise that I do for that is you actually jump. This woman taught this to me. You jump with both of your feet, your whole body weight on the ground with both feet. You really feel the weight of your body hitting the floor. It's best if you could do this outside, if you do this on grass, but also to kind of let yourself be held by earth. It's actually harder than you think to do. Like everyone does it with resistance, to not be too heavy, to not jump too hard. But in the morning, I like to do that, to kind of jump with my 2 feet, really ground myself into the earth and really feel held by gravity and by this earth. So I recommend that as an exercise, a physical exercise.
Love it, love it. And I see some yoga teachers shared that they can help in the comments as well. So if you want to connect with any of those people. But I love that practice, Taylor. I definitely want to practice that. That
Yeah,
sounds
it's a
dope.
good one. It's a good one. That helps me out a lot.
Stephanie,
Stephanie. Hey Kyle.
what's
Hey Taylor.
up?
What's up? So something that came up for me is like if I'm acknowledging that what I'm creating is like my higher powers will, right? Because I see myself as like a vessel, like in the wellness world. And so it's like if I'm merely just a steward, what am I fearing? Like
Mm,
if right, this isn't like and like it could be because like all right, let me say this. What I'm creating is deeply personal, but it's beyond me. It's not a get rich scheme, or it's not like my thing is like a divine what do you call it, assignment, I feel
yeah,
like. And so like if I have an assignment and all the risks that I'm taking are to get there, then like what am I really fearing if
mhm,
something higher than me, if I'm doing it for something higher than me, like they
mhm,
would really have my back if
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
doing intentions.
Wha-
And like if but then what I struggle with is like, well, then where does money fall in that?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And that actually brings us to the last point that we're gonna make, but we can just talk about that now. But what I'm hearing you saying is like, okay, you feel like you have this assignment, you are a vessel. And so I'm also hearing like, why do I have fear about creating this? And also, what's the relationship with money? Is that kind of what you're saying? Is that
Yeah, like if this is something like I guess I struggle with like being of service, like being a steward and just being of service like selflessly. But
Mhm.
then also like I live on my own in Los Angeles. I need to make a living.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah.
so like what is the balance of me trying to attract wealth and break generational curses and like pay for my parents' retirement and just like I think how someone was saying, like just living like a minimalist kind of like life.
100%. I hear that. Yeah. So I think a big thing here is like having the intellectual understanding and then also being responsive to our body and what it needs as well. Because I think a big thing in this is like often we're really good at giving. We're like, I just want to give, I just want to give. But then when it comes time for us to receive, we're like, nope, I can't receive that, right? So I think a big thing is feeling into where do you feel that resistance to receiving in your body and what might be underneath that? Because often what's underneath it is a story that we've internalized from our younger years. And so the body is often will trigger things so that we can heal that. So a lot of times that stuff is running in the background. And then I think an important thing to understand too is like this is like a holistic thing. And so our relationship to money, just like all of our relationships, whether it's with a partner or money or our business, etc., they can all be mirrors that help us to see what parts of our body or what parts of ourselves we are where's their resistance, right? And so when we work on these relationships, it can really help you heal and expand in the ways you want to, right? Because if you don't feel safe receiving, right, then there's a way opportunities to expand there, right? If you don't feel safe, that you can take care of yourself, then there's an opportunity to expand there, right? So we can really use money as sort of this mirror, our relationship to it as a mirror of where we can create more safety, more healing, and more expansion for ourselves.
Yeah, I actually want to add something because I've experienced that challenge as well, where I feel like I'm being of service, and where does money come into all of that? And someone said to me, "Send it back." You're downloading this divine source energy, and the money is a part of that. You know, you're sending it back to be of service through the use of your money. You can use your money in a way to be of service to the world, and part of that is also to support yourself so that you can continue being of service.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's how I like to see it, that being of service, a lot of us consider ourselves as, you know, this divine channels, creating, supporting people, helping people, but it's a two-way thing. It's not just one way. You know, we're downloading, and even our the things that we're creating, the money that we're making, we send it back to source, and we let it use that money in a way that is still being of service to love and to whatever it is we connect with on the deepest level.
100%, 100%. Yeah, and I want to add to that too. Like, you can't be of service if you don't feel, if you're worried, like, where am I going to sleep? You can't be of service, you know, in the way that you really want to be of service. And I think a big thing too is looking at how do we look at money, right? Do we look at it as something negative or something positive, or can we look at it as just like a neutral energy, you know, that is flowing, that is going to be here regardless, you know, and we can also use it in a way that feels purposeful for us.
Christina asked in the chat how she can improve her relationship to money itself and not just the things money buys. So one of the things that I learned in a money EQ course, this is a Japanese tradition. It's called arigato in, arigato out. And every time they spend money and make money, they thank the physical money. So when they're at the grocery store, they're saying, "Thank you, money." Like, it's a thing that they say. They're like, arigato out, arigato in. When they make money and when they spend money, they're thanking the money itself for what it's allowing them to have, for whatever it is, whoever it is that paid them, the money itself coming in and coming out, they thank it. They take a moment to be grateful for the money itself. When I'm feeling like I'm disconnected, like I don't feel any type of, I feel insensitive or to the concept of money, I like to practice that and remember that paying groceries, I'm thinking this like little piece of paper. I'm like, thanks, money, for letting me have this meal. Thanks, money, for letting me pay for gas. Like, it really does help. And for books, I'll let Kyle answer since it's chakra specific.
For sure. Yeah, and I would also add to what Taylor just said is instead of putting the emphasis on that thing that you are getting, because what I'm hearing is sometimes you feel a disconnect because you're focusing on other things. You can also put the focus on yourself and really connect with your own worthiness, and your own ability to create, your own ability to create value, your own ability to serve people, and that's something that I've really found to be powerful. I think there's a really big connection between our self-worth and our ability to receive love and the amount of money that we let ourselves receive.
Well, especially, and this ties into the capitalism question, that, you know, in capitalism, we value certain types of jobs, you know, being a lawyer, being a doctor, which of course are very respectable. But I think that a lot of people in these fields that are more new age, let's call them, we devalue the work that we've put into, you know, the gifts that we are offering to this world. You know, I've had a therapist who had to really drill into me, like, Taylor, you've spent years studying this. You've had very difficult, challenging experiences that brought you to this point where you could be of service to people. Do not undermine that. And I want to say that all of you have gifts that are worth millions of dollars. The same way a doctor goes to school in like a very conventional way, and everyone in the world, no one questions if they deserve the money they're making. Just remember that no one that gets to a point of wanting to serve humanity and offer their gifts to the world has done it without putting in work, without learning, without studying, without, you know, experiencing pain and sacrifice. So just don't devalue that because it's not something that is recognized by mainstream society. It's still super, super valuable.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, and Gary, I think to your point of untying capitalism from money itself, right? I think sometimes things that initially we see as blocks, we can actually use them to create more value and to be more helpful. So maybe there are things that you notice about capitalism that you're like, okay, this is harmful, right? So then a helpful thing can be, how can I be creative in my business or in my message to serve the people that might have been disempowered in other ways? And that can be one way that you're creating value. And then I think from there, it's untying like, well, what makes me worthy of, now that I'm helping people in these ways, what makes me worthy of receiving the money or any of the things that might be there. And I feel like if we can separate you feeling safe and you feeling valued, if we can separate that from capitalism, I think that's one conversation. And then seeing like, oh, can we get creative to use my knowledge of history to actually serve people? That's what I would suggest.
Kelly said something in the comments that I also want to mention. It was a solution, but I also relate to it, that I've used it in the past, to really ask yourself if money was a person, what your relationship is to it. I've done that exercise, asking myself, what would money say to me? It would say, you don't pay attention to me, and no matter how much I'm there for you, I'm never enough for you. No matter how much I show up for you, no matter how much I'm there for you, I'm never enough. You're always looking at what's lacking, what's missing. And that obviously is a relationship to look into. Like, how would I treat money if money was my best friend and the person I loved the most? Like, I would appreciate it. I would be grateful for it. So definitely helped me, seeing it as a person, because we have a lot of experiences with interpersonal relationships, more so than our experiences with money, with something that we're taught less or hear about less. So frame it as a human being. Ask yourself, if money wrote me a letter, what would it say to me? And how could I write it a letter back? Maybe asking it for forgiveness, saying sorry for how we neglect it and how we treat it and how we dissociate from it whenever it's not doing what we expect from it to do. So that's something that's helped me a lot as well.
I love that. I love that. That's a beautiful practice.
Mm-hmm.
And any books? I did have a chakra book. I don't remember the name of it. My friend gave it to me. This was a long time ago. Initially, when he gave it to me, I was like, "What is this? What are you showing me?" I was not ready for it. So a lot of my stuff that I've learned about the chakras has come from feeling in my body, and then also just reading stuff online and different learning from other people's wisdom.
I also highly, highly recommend the book Divine Compensation by Marianne Williamson. She's a teacher on A Course in Miracles, and she has different books on different subjects that are based on the teachings of A Course in Miracles, which is basically just living by the principles of love and divine intervention and everything. So divine compensation. And she talks about how we are being compensated for our divine work. When you are working in the service of love, it's the highest work in this world. And there's nothing the divine wants more than to reward you for that. So we're blocking it from letting it reward us for that. That's 100%. Our work to be done. And there's a lot of exercises in there, and it's wonderful.
And one book that I would recommend, because I know a lot of us are really connected to more of the spiritual types of texts. One book that I'd recommend if you really want to work on some of that root stuff is the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich. You might see the title and be like, what the fuck? But there are actually some really, really great practices in there around paying off debt, getting on top of your money, investing, creating a safety net for yourself. It's really practical and really helpful, and it's outlined in like a 6-week practice, and it really helped me to get on top of my money and feel a lot safer with my money.
And if you don't feel like you're ready to start with the book, they just did a Netflix series with the author of the book, which will also really increase your level of financial literacy and just basic awareness of what the hell's going on. If you feel like you're in a place of starting from nothing, start on Netflix,
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Okay. And I know, Taylor, you wanted to share about your program, right?
Yeah, I'll just end by saying that my 12-week program, which some of you are familiar with based on through my Instagram and stuff, is relaunching soon. So at the top of our chat, the first link that I posted, you can fill out your information so I can reach out to you this week if you are interested, if you've ever been interested, if you want to learn more from me, be part of a group where we do things like this on a weekly basis. Some of you just finished the program, which is nice to see you here. It means we're still loving each other. We're still connected. And that's it. If you want to be part of the WhatsApp group where I host different workshops like this with people like Kyle, coaches I've worked with, people I work with, I can put the link for the WhatsApp group there as well, but you can get it through my Instagram.
Beautiful. Love it, love it. Taylor is awesome. So definitely work with her if you feel called. I will share as well that I work with online creators, and entrepreneurs doing a lot of this work, a lot of work around working through emotional blocks, limiting beliefs, a lot of marketing and sales that really highlights your uniqueness. And you can contact me, get in contact with me via my Instagram. It is at Kyle Summersall.
Yeah, I'll share it in the WhatsApp group as well. I'll share his Instagram.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. And I also have a group as well on Telegram, this community where I share insights like some of the stuff we talked about today. So yeah, if you want to get in contact, shoot me a DM and we can jam.
There's enough love and money for all of us. That's the last thing I want.
There is 100%.
For all of us.
I love it. I love it. Thank you all so much for being here. If you want to get in contact, feel free to reach out. Sending you a lot of love for the rest of your day.
Lots and lots of love and money.
Yeah, and money. Let's go.
Go get that bag. Go get that bag.
Let's go. Love it.
Love and money to you all.
Yeah.
Extra for those of you who stayed till the end.